This February is an extremely emotional and spiritual month, and you could be having a lot of deep, meaningful breakthroughs this February because of that sensitive energy. So if you're excited to dive into what this February 2025 means for you and everyone, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you are always up to date with what the stars mean for you. If you're new here, hi, I'm Maren. I make videos on astrology, and I also make music and act as well. So if you want all my info, you can check that down in the description below. And I'm talking kind of quietly because my cats can hear me downstairs and they start to meow when they hear me filming loudly, and I don't have the energy for that right now of them meowing at the door. But hopefully my new mic works well. So we're starting out this month on the 1st with Venus conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So Venus has been conjunct Neptune over the past few days, but it's still conjunct on the 1st. So Venus is exalted in Pisces. It shows that love, relationships, harmony, and getting along with others is doing really well. And Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, or showing it at a higher level and a more spiritual, kind of aphrodisiac, meaningful kind of transcendence or type of pleasure. So Venus conjunct Neptune in Pisces is a really dreamy, both worldly and spiritually transcendent, satisfying beginning to the month. So anything that is emotional, artistic, creative, or meaningful will be heightened and more sensitive during the first day of February. On the 3rd, Venus is still going to be somewhat conjunct Neptune, but it goes exact on the 1st. But on the 3rd, it's still within range, but it's going to be conjunct the North Node in Pisces. So the North Node adds force, progress, direction, and growth. So Venus conjunct Neptune and the North Node shows amplifying both worldly and spiritual pleasure and satisfaction and creativity. It's an incredibly spiritually eye-opening and creatively meaningful first few days of the month. Then later that day on the 3rd, Venus is going to enter Aries. So once Venus enters Aries, this is a very different energy. It's more independent, impulsive, and fiery. So it is going to be a kind of sudden switch during the first week of the month, going from a very spiritually transcendent placement of Venus to a more independent, I don't want to say selfish in a bad way, but self-centered placement of Venus. There's definitely that switch in that first week. And on the 4th, Jupiter is stationing direct in Gemini. So for several months since this fall, Jupiter has been retrograde, which means that the growth has kind of slowed, and it's been more about looking at what we've already grown in or looking at the progress we've made. But now that Jupiter is moving direct, you can look at the Gemini house in your chart to identify more clearly what it is that you're now once again growing or making progress in. So if you know where Gemini is in your chart, that area is now speeding up with progress in the beginning of February. Then on the 9th, there's a sun-mercury cazimi in Aquarius. So with the sun conjunct Mercury, it shows clarity, illumination, things coming to light, or realizing something is happening in your life. It shows clarity and illumination. So with the sun and Mercury conjunct on the 9th, expect to hear about or gain clarity or understand something better around that time in your life. Then on the 12th, there is a full moon in Leo. And although I'll have a full video on this, this is a very dramatic middle of February. This full moon in Leo is already going to show drama because a Leo full moon is always going to show a release of energy, something being shown off, or a kind of party or celebration. It's very Leo. But this full moon is conjunct Mercury, or the sun is conjunct Mercury, so it's opposite Mercury. With the sun in Aquarius on Mercury, it's all about communication or news. And with an almost exact square to Uranus, it shows chaos, disruption, surprise, or something new coming to light that is shocking. So do not be surprised if you're surprised, and expect the unexpected under that Leo full moon. It shows something wild to talk about coming up. On the 18th, the sun will then enter Pisces. So with the sun entering Pisces, the energy does get a little bit more spiritual and calm. Even though we've had a lot of Pisces things early on in the month with Venus and the North Node and Neptune, once the sun enters Pisces, the second half of the month, the energy is going to go from more conversational and social to more spiritual and inward. And on the 22nd, Neptune in Pisces is finally crossing the North Node. So with Neptune on the North Node, that is emphasizing the meaningful, spiritual, otherworldly, kind of faith-based aspects of what you're doing here. And that's going to show that even though you're now acting more for yourself or acting more independently, Neptune on the North Node is reminding you of like the good for everyone or the higher reasons, the greater reasons that you're doing what you're doing or what you're focusing on. On the 23rd, Mars is stationing direct in Cancer, and it's actually going to be loosely tri-Neptune, which is great. But Mars stationing direct is an end of the several weeks of Mars retrograde, and it now shows that with Mars direct, the work, problem-solving, progress, and dealing with issues is now moving forward. So even though it's not necessarily all like back to normal or the issues and frustrations are completely absolved, Mars direct shows that we are working towards processing these issues, addressing these issues, and overcoming issues over the next few weeks instead of feeling bogged down or like we are not getting anywhere with them during Mars retrograde. On the 25th, Mercury will conjoin Saturn in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces can be a little confusing, but Saturn is all about seriousness, reality, and cold, sober, hard truths. So Mercury conjunct Saturn can show that there's something delivered with empathy, but some kind of like hard, cold truth or just reality check given to you around that time. Serious communication to end the month, basically. And we end the month on the 27th with a new moon in Pisces. So this moon has Neptune, the North Node, Mercury, and Saturn all very close together at the end of Pisces. And even though the North Node is in Pisces, it's not quite an eclipse, but watch for the spiritual, meaningful commitment that you make or the emotional new beginning that you set on at the end of the month. It's probably going to be a preview for the year-and-a-half cycle ahead of us with the North Node in Pisces, which doesn't really fully start yet. I mean, the North Node's there, but this is not an eclipse yet. It's not close enough. But with the North Node in that sign, it is co-present and it's activated to signify a preview or kind of an insight into what you are going to commit to around this emotional new beginning that's going to grow over the next year and a half. So if you are excited or you have any thoughts about this February, let me know in a comment below how you're feeling about this month coming up. Let's pull a tarot card for what we can all expect for this February. We have the Three of Wands. So in this card, as you can see, there's a guy stepping out. His back is turned. He's ready to cross the edge or jump off the cliff, basically, depending on how you look at the image. This shows that you're willing to go out on your own. You're like, okay, next chapter is ready, and you're excited and a little anxious, but mostly excited to like get over that hump or get to the next level, and you're ready. It's like a I'm about to jump kind of card. So it looks like you are ready to make an emotional new beginning or a change, and you just have to kind of push yourself to stick to it. So if you enjoyed this, make sure that you like and subscribe and leave me a comment down below. I should have a video out soon or already about the North and South Node being in Pisces and Virgo. If not, I will get on that. I need to film that over the next few days. It's just been difficult here with the fires in LA. Even though I personally don't have a fire super near me, I did have to evacuate. And so to be honest, that, and then I've just never had a natural disaster. And even if you're not personally losing your home, it's just a lot of things have been going on. So I'm a little behind on filming these, but they should be out on time. Anyway, thank you all for being there and watching, and yeah, make sure that you subscribe if you have not already. I'll see you in the next one.